Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining Prevue's webinar, Locally Inspired, Florida's One-of-a-Kind Group Experiences. I'm Associate Editor Lisa Simonson, and I'll be your moderator today. We're very privileged to have the knowledge and expertise of three special guests who will be talking about Florida's group experiences and how they've used the state's one-of-a-kind group venues and services. So today we have Joe Fijol, Principal and Founder of Ethos Event Collective, Heather Pilcher, CEO and Executive Producer of Blue Spark Event Design, and Katie Risher, Assistant Director of the University of Florida Conference Department. They're going to tell you more about themselves in a minute. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsors who made this whole thing possible. And there are a few of them, and they're all great. Visit St. Petersburg Clearwater, visit Lauderdale, visit Panama City Beach, visit South Walton, Fort Myers Islands Beaches and Neighborhoods, the Wyndham Grand Beach Clearwater Resort, Ponte Vedra Inn and Club and the Lodging Club, Sunseeker Resort Charlotte Harbor, the Caribe Royale Orlando, Florida Sports Coast, also known as Pasco County, the Palm Beaches, visit Tampa Bay, Disney Meetings and Events, visit Central Florida, visit Orlando, and the Hilton Sandestin Beach Golf Resort and Spa. Thank you, sponsors. We're so grateful to you. So a couple of things. Today's session is being recorded and you will receive a link via email. So don't worry if you miss anything. As with all Prevue webinars, you will receive CEUs from the Events Industry Council. Plus, 2 lucky attendees will have the chance to win a $100 gift card each. So please make sure to stay until the end when we announce the winners. We also want to hear from you during this webinar. We have a Zoom chat going, so tell us where you're from and if and where you're planning to meet in Florida. Also, we did create a guide of locally inspired ideas, which will be included in the email that you receive of the webinar recording. But before we dive in, we're going to ask a couple of questions of you via 2 quick polls. So first, have you planned a meeting or incentive trip in Florida, yes or no? And if you have used Florida, which regions have you used? North Florida, Central Florida, including Orlando, Central Florida, East or West Coast, Southeast Florida, Southwest Florida, or the Florida Keys, or all of the above. So we will be, as we can see here, well, 69% have planned a meeting or incentive trip in Florida, and 31% have not. So if you have used Florida, Central Florida's and Southeast Florida are the big winners with 27 and 36% respectively. But we do have some North Florida, Central Florida, East and West Coast, and Keys. So thank you, everybody, for participating in that. So now we're going to turn it over to our panelists who are going to tell a little bit about themselves. So let's start with Joe Fijol from Ethos Events.
Hey, thank you so much, Lisa. My name is Joe Fijol, and I'm with Ethos Event Collective. We have 3 offices locally here in Florida, one on Amelia Island, one in Orlando, and then one in Hollywood, Florida, servicing the Southeast and the Southwest markets of Florida. We're excited to be here today. And we really believe in the give back portion of most of our meetings. So we are trying to connect the local community to the meeting when it comes here in a purposeful way. So very excited to be here. Thanks again for the opportunity, and so grateful for you guys making time today to be with us for this hour.
Great. Heather?
Yes. Hey, everybody. I'm Heather Pilcher. I'm CEO and Executive Producer for Blue Spark. We are a corporate events agency that produces corporate conferences, immersive brand experiences, and incentive travel for our clients around the country and internationally. But we are based in Orlando, and we love working in our home state. I am a homegrown Floridian, so I'm proud of what we have to offer here. I know it's a location that a lot of our clients like to come to year after year. So I'm excited to share kind of what our state has to offer. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And Katie, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I know we may be part of people's lunch hour right now, but hopefully have some great information we can share with you. I'm Katie Risher, the Assistant Director for the University of Florida Conference Department, so based out of Gainesville, Florida. Go Gators. We plan events for faculty and staff, not only here at the university, but also around Florida. We've gone internationally, so work with a lot of different venues, vendors, partners, put on, not only academic content for, sessions, poster sessions, but have lots of social events, dinners, day trips, all that kind of stuff. So yes, go Gators. We say a couple of those. So once again, happy to be here and hope you enjoy your time with us.
Thank you, Katie. Go Hurricanes. Anybody? Anybody? No. Okay. So I'm just going to remind you again, go ahead and please use the Zoom chat function for your questions. And again, this webinar will be recorded. So if you have any questions, you will, or if you miss anything, you will get a recording. So we will be looking at various aspects of planning, including activities and experiences, food and beverages, venues, gifting, and CSR, giving back to communities. So the panel will take your questions afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share screen. Here we go. Everybody seeing that? I hope. Okay, great. So here we go with our first category, which is activities and experiences. And Joe has the first slide. So go ahead, Joe, tell us what you did.
Yes, thank you so much. So located just north of Palm Beach, but it is in Palm Beach County, is the Pelican Harbor Seabird Station. This is one of the interactive events that we do from a CSR perspective. Pelican Seabird Station was founded in 1980, and they accept birds 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day. So their job is to rehabilitate injured birds and mammals, reptiles, etc. And then so they work with federal, state, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and also just private residents who may have seen a bird injured, whether it's been tangled in fishing line or whatever. But what we try to do is we try to work with them when they do releasing, when they're releasing birds back in. But there's also a lot of cleanup. There's a lot of other things to do. So when we work with clients who really want their hands on and to do something a little bit unique, this works out really well because we work on the mangroves. We work obviously at their facility, and it works out really well. Small, intimate groups that we bring in, and most people also make some sort of donation to the station. So this is a unique opportunity, and one that really works for Palm Beach County. If you're doing anything in the in West Palm Beach or any of those resorts there, it's a little drive up north, but we're really excited to be partnering with them.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, next is Heather.
All right, so Harry Potter, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter is not new, but I wanted to just kind of take a moment to talk through it, but give you some points for those who are exploring this as an option when you come to Orlando. Theme parks are amazing experiences, especially private group experiences. Our clients love it. So here are the 5 things that I want you to remember when you're going to a theme park, specifically the Harry Potter. And there are 2 sections of Harry Potter. There's Islands of Adventure, which is Hogsmeade, and then Universal Studios, which is Diagon Alley. So those are the 2. They are connected by the Hogwarts Express. If you're familiar with the movie and the books, that's the train that takes you to Hogwarts. So the 5 things I want you to remember: time of year, time of day, branding, entertainment options, and then team building. So I'm sure you're familiar that everybody who's coming to Florida in the summer really hits the theme parks hard. The hours are longer than normal. So those hours may go until midnight. So doing a group experience is not ideal for the parks, and it's not really ideal for your group unless you want to do it at 1 a.m., which most corporations do not. So time of year or the calendar is really important. We've had most success in January and February, right before spring break hits. There's the closure times for the parks can sometimes be 7, sometimes be 8. And don't forget that they have to flip the space as well for your group to be welcomed in. Time of day. Again, later in the evening, don't be expecting to have dinner at 6 at Harry Potter. It's never going to happen. People are going to be in the park until it closes. And it's the last portion of the park that they do the sweep in because the guests love it so much. So something to consider there. When we did our most recent event there, it was a small incentive group. We had 60 people. What we did to kind of make the evening a little bit more involved with the dinner is we did a dinner at a different section of the park. So we had dinner at Mythos, which is a private function space. They had a dinner, they did their awards, they gave out different things and a little bit more of a corporate update. And then they walked the group over to Harry Potter. So dinner was 7 to 9, and then the Harry Potter dessert experience was 9 to 11. So time of year, time of day, branding. If you're looking for an event that you want to do a lot of branding in, J.K. Rowling says, no, you're not going to be doing that in Hogsmeade, and you're not going to be doing that in Diagon Alley. So any kind of branding or any kind of corporate messaging that you really want to get across either needs to be in the private function space before you get into those two Wizarding World of Harry Potter areas, or you need to do it at the hotel prior to. So if it's important, maybe Harry Potter is not the best fit. Entertainment. Just like the books, you can do like the Frog Choir or the Triwizard Spirit Rally, which is kind of fun. What we did for the most recent event is we actually had them hire immersive characters. So they weren't specific to the books, but when they were at Hogsmeade or Diagon Alley, they had people who were cloaked with the hats that were talking to each other. Maybe they were walking by talking about cauldrons or spells or whatever, but it sort of created the environment. And I love the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at night. It really feels like you're in the movie when it's not, I don't know, 100 degrees outside because it's Florida, especially with Hogsmeade where there's like snow on the roofs and that kind of stuff. Last thing I would say about Harry Potter area is team building. I'm sure you guys are very familiar that Harry Potter, there's a lot about wands and spells, right? So with this group, we gave everybody a wand, and there are 2 different types of wands, just so we're clear. There's the pretty ones that could be maybe from a specific character like Harry or Ron or whatever. And there are also interactive wands. The interactive wands are the ones you want for team building. We broke people into houses, and then they went into Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley, and they used their wands to create the spell, and whichever group did the most spell completions won a prize. So very fun to stay within the theme of the land and kind of a fun, interactive, memorable experience, and you get to keep the wand at the end. So time of year, time of day, branding, entertainment, and then team building options. It's really fun. It's something that people talk about for years. So if you have the opportunity, I would definitely check it out.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, next, Katie.
So with this event, it was actually a first-time event. UF has a smell and taste center. So back in 2017, they started their first conference with the Fifth Sense based out of UK. And prior to COVID, there was a smaller group of people who had smell and taste disorders. And now we know that's a lot larger than it used to be, but it was really cool because it brought together a community all over the world to meet and discuss based on those experiences. But with this event, we had a second iteration. We first picture partnered with Glenfiddich, who actually did a craft cocktail competition. So there are, reps depending on your region. Like we had one who was based out of New England, but actually was part of the Florida market. And it was really cool. They actually did a sensory workshop where my client explained, basic smell and taste disorders. For example, cilantro may taste like soap for some people related to that. And then Glenfiddich did a tasting with some of their spirits for the bartenders who opted into this competition, and to help appeal to some of the smell and taste sensory issues. They did a craft cocktail competition at the AC Marriott here in Gainesville, where participants got to vote on the best cocktail, appealing to the different senses using Glenfiddich. So that was really neat. And the bartender won a 20-year bottle, but that was a cool kind of experience, both on the planning side and for the attendees. And then the second picture is a mapping of the meeting. We had an artist come in and illustrate basically the conversations during the main session. So, a lot of times there's flip charts or someone trying to use a note-taking system, but this was actually really neat because it captured all of the main areas in a really cool graphic way. And obviously they can save this forever and not have to compile notes or go back and try to, organize sticky notes. So just wanted to highlight those two things.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, back to Joe.
Yes, well, this is a venue that is, in my opinion, probably, as we're planning and we're working with various clients, it's always the hot button, what's the maximum drive time? And sometimes the drive time isn't worth the reward. In this case, the reward is definitely worth the drive. So most of the resorts in Central Florida are going to be anywhere between 30 to 40 minutes from this venue, but this venue itself has a lot of different opportunities, not just during the day for activities and doing something different on the water. Obviously, with the ecosystem in Central Florida, the beginning of the Everglades start obviously in Central Florida. Most people don't know that. It starts at Shingle Creek and it flows all the way down almost 300 miles out into the Bay of Biscayne as well as the Gulf of Mexico. And so this really is an opportunity not only to do interactive experiences with various different animals, but you can do an outside event in the evening. We've done lunch events there with airboats. So it really depends upon what the need or what the why is when you're planning, whether it's an activity or an evening event. Very different setting. Obviously, summer a little bit more warmer, but right now during the peak season of incentives and meetings, January through May, this would be a perfect location in the evening. Sunsets are gorgeous underneath the marsh and stuff. So this is one of those places that, unfortunately, some clients don't have time to go see it, but those who do have time usually fit it in their agenda somehow, some way, because it is so unique for Central Florida. In South Florida, whether you're on the West or East Coast, we have a lot of airboat vendors, but in Central Florida, there's not a lot. And this venue has been really curated with the attendee in mind. And so we do a lot of groups there. We really like it. And they are very much about educating people on the ecosystem in Central Florida. So we do love Wild Florida. And if you guys have any questions, you can hit me up. But it is a very, very unique venue and worth the drive.
Thank you. Okay, back to Heather.
All right. So who wants to come to Florida and have a beach event? Like everybody, yes? Which is lovely. We like doing beach events, but I wanted to share a little bit about what we did and then again, some tips for doing them successfully in Florida. So this event was done at the JW Marriott Marco Island. It was out on the beach it was Tiki Beach. It was a little bit farther north on there. Some things to know when you're doing beach events in Florida. First and foremost is, who's heard of turtle nesting season? Yeah, super fun. So the Florida Fish and Wildlife has very strict rules about turtle nesting season, and there's a variety of different dates based on the area that you are in Florida about when you can and cannot be on the beach. Turtle season basically is the sea turtle that's coming out from the ocean, laying their eggs, burying them, and going back to the ocean. And then the baby turtles burst out of the eggs and go back to the water, right? And they win over anything that you want to do. I have heard seasons as early as March, going all the way to October. I've seen some in May going through October. So you need to be very well aware of when that is. Talk to your hotel person, talk to your planner. It's going to be really important for whether or not you could actually do something on the sand. The other thing I would tell you to notate when you're doing site visits is how deep the sand is. On the West Coast at JW Marriott, the sand is pretty firm. You can drive on there. You can bring your vendors out there and set up pretty easily. We only got one truck stuck once, but we got him out. On the East Coast of Florida, though, over in the Fort Lauderdale area, you may need a tractor to bring stuff out onto the beach. So if you're not ready for that, you can either do it we call it like the ant version, where your labor can pick it up and walk like this and take a really long time to get it out onto the beach, or you can be prepared with a tractor to get it out there. So how deep the sand is going to be pretty important. Whether or not the hotel provides a stage, last 4 or 5 that we've done, the hotel does not provide staging out on the sand. So that it might be something that you have to put into your budget line. And then Linens on the beach. I love pretty colorful linens. I love spandex more because they don't blow off your tables. It's just something to think about. It is pretty windy during the day when it's set up, and then the wind usually dies down. So it is something to consider. And then the last thing I would say is just boundaries of your event out in the beach. This event specifically, I had a family kind of crash and join us on the dance floor. So I had to go over and sort of patrol and be like, hey, I really appreciate you guys enjoying the vibe, but if you could enjoy it just on the sidewalk, just right outside the event, that would be lovely. So it is sometimes hard to keep the boundaries around that stuff. So if it is an important event, maybe you're giving out, I don't know, high level foods or whatever, you may want to add security to your event as well. So there's things to consider when you're doing a beach event. Oh, and 30% means it's going to rain, whether during setup, which will ruin everything, or during the event. But in Florida, it's a pretty serious percentage if you get to 30%. So something to consider.
Okay, thank you so much. And Katie?
So here, this was kind of a fun collaboration between Experience Kissimmee and our MPI North Florida chapter, which is based out of Jacksonville. I'm gonna plug in MPI there. No one's heard of it or isn't a member. It's an awesome association for planners and suppliers. Anyways, this was an event at Omni Champions Gate, which is kind of on the outskirts of Orlando under, it's an Experience Kissimmee property. And it was really neat. It was an elevated dinner where they had, you know, nice decor and like ambiance. They had a buffet and bar for us, but they actually had these little activities, which I liked because it wasn't intrusive. But it was neat. Here we actually had, it was two more artistic activities, but we actually had someone come in and draw all of us on a wine cork, and it was amazing. It only took a couple minutes, but as you can see, someone's dog is nicely portrayed there, and then all of us mixed together. But it was actually really neat and a fun way to commemorate the dinner. And then we also had a poem writer, and all you had to do is basically, you know, share a couple words. I said iced coffee, family, and fun, and a whole poem was written out about you, which was kind of neat. Everyone had different things they focused on, and without actually knowing who we were, sitting down and having a conversation, it was a fun, you know, token from the night. So it was just kind of two really cool fun activities to have within, you know, a banquet dinner setting without it being too obstructive. So those are two neat things I wanted to share.
Oh, that sounds great. Thank you. So now we're going to move on to food and beverage category. So Joe, if you would like to comment here.
Yeah, I think as Orlando has expanded and candidly things have started to move more east than west, Boxing Park and if you haven't been to East Orlando, the Wave Hotel is there. It's incredible. It's a beautiful hotel, but it's over by the Tavistock corporate office. But Boxing Park is another location that, to me, if you want something unique, different, outside, allows a lot more networking, allows more opportunity for culinary experiences and smaller stations, but really getting people to move and doing things differently. Boxing Park is somewhat of a new venue to Central Florida, and for those groups, especially with 417, the drive isn't very far there. The traffic continually flows, and you're not taking I-4 to get there in most cases. And so that makes it a little easier from a traffic perspective. But Boxing Park is one of those unique venues that it really depends upon what you're choosing to do. And absolutely, you can curate your own event based upon what experience you want, what kind of music you want, especially the culinary experience too. And once again, most of you know that today it's a destination is more about the entire city than it is the resort. And so it's really what is going to complement what's happening within the meeting rooms at night. How do we weave that message through? And Boxing Park has a lot of opportunities to do that, whether it's branding, whether it's unique activities or events, give back. So it's got a lot of space, and it's one venue that, once again, worth the drive, but the drive is not further than most of the places in Orlando when you take away the traffic, because the traffic does flow on 417. So we love the park, and we love bringing clients there. We just did an event there for about 450 to 550 people in November, and they chose this over theme parks and everything else that we showed them. And so it really matched with what they were looking at doing. So we're excited about it, and absolutely is a venue that you should put on your list when you're looking in the Central Florida area.
Thank you. Okay, Heather?
Okay, so this was a product launch that we did for a makeup and skincare company. This was at a Miami day club. If you're unfamiliar with the term day club, it's basically a nightclub during the day in a pool. A lot of happening a lot. It's very popular in Miami, very popular in Vegas. But they wanted something cool and hip and chic. So they wanted to do something in Miami. Again, to Joe's point, it was about the destination and selling this and making sure that it was something that they wanted to see, right? So you'll see at the bottom right, the pink and blue, that is Strawberry Moon. It's on the top level of a boutique hotel down in Miami. Had a little bit of a challenging load in, because if you see the top of the pool towards the back with the greenery trees at the top of the photo, we had that to load in from like 8 to 6. From the pool top to the bottom of the photo towards the building, we had an hour, because that was part of the day club and they were not willing to shut that down because it was such a profitable experience for the organization. So I said, okay, great. So a little bit challenging for load in and such, but as far as the food and beverage goes, things that you want to remember when you're doing elements like this at a unique venue, especially in Florida, because there's a lot of patios, there's a lot of pools, there's a lot of things that are outdoors, you've got grass, whatever. The thing that you can't do more often than not is have beautiful glassware outside, right? And because this product launch was so important to them, they didn't want boring glassware, and we couldn't do glass anyway, so we had to figure out unique plasticware, and that's what's up on the upper left here. So the glass all the way to the left that you're looking at was the one glass that they provided, but we had designed a couple of different styles of drinks. We named them, they went with the products. So it was a really important food and beverage experience for them, and they wanted them to look a certain way. And so we had to source different plasticware, if you will, that would go with the theme, that would make it still feel like an elevated experience. So key to this whole thing is make sure that you're aware of the plasticware or the plastic cups or the glasses, of how you want to present it if you're out by a pool, because glass will get denied more often than not. And in Miami, be prepared for tough load-ins. A lot of times if you're in a unique space, especially pool tops and day clubs and such. But I don't know, it turned out to be a really fun day. And I would say also too, if you're doing any outdoor events in Florida for setup, make sure you wear your sunblock. Ooh, I had a little bit more red cheeks by the end of that one, so that was fun. But yeah, fun stuff in Miami.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead, Katie.
So here we have another Omni property, but up in Amelia Island, which is more North Florida, closer to Fernandina area. So Omni Amelia Island actually has something called the Sprouting Project, which is actually really neat. It's their own micro garden. So that's where they grow some of their own herbs, fresh vegetables, fruits. They also work on some of the meat processing that they do. So here in the picture with the chef, you know, they're working on some of the microgreens there. We actually had the dinner set up there, family style, with a nice, you know, centerpieces like you see here. And it was the family style, you know, with appetizers, entrees, sides, desserts. They actually have a nice barn area as well, where you can set up, you know, cocktail rounds, any refreshments, bar. We got to see a tour of the property. So, you know, not so much just come and eat dinner, but also got to experience, you know, that part of the property that a lot of guests wouldn't normally get to see. But as a group, it was really intimate and nice. And we were there in December. So it is chillier on the beach. So we did have to bundle up a little bit, but it was still a really neat and memorable experience, especially, you know, for a dinner setting where it had a little more elevated ambiance than, you know, being inside of a session room.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you. Okay, we're going back to Joe for Vizcaya.
All right. I thought long and hard before I presented Vizcaya. And Vizcaya, there's nothing new about the location, but everything is new about Vizcaya. And when I say that, what we have found, and first of all, Vizcaya is one of my favorite properties in all of Miami. It takes a lot to get an event off the ground there. And what you can see here on the left-hand side of this photo is the actual terrace area that overlooks the water. But the challenge in this venue is that it's a museum. It's an open museum every day from 9 to 5. And so loading in is definitely something that is discussed, talked about, and based upon what you want to do, you're absolutely able to do that. If you've seen an Al Pacino movie where he comes out of the balcony with a little gun and starts firing, there's numerous movies that have been shot from this location. The venue itself is unique in when Ronald Reagan, the first time that Pope John Paul II came to the United States, Ronald Reagan asked if he would come to Miami and hosted him here. They actually stayed at the Vizcaya because they knew that Pope John Paul loved to walk around the gardens. But there's some historic events and things that have happened here, numerous weddings. We love the venue because once again, it gives us the opportunity to be on the water. There is rain backup locations available. They have the gardens that you can recept in. And the space itself is highly sought after for weddings. And that's why I decided to put it back in, because what we have found over the past 3 years coming back from COVID is that there are clients who have larger budgets, may not be going offshore, but staying here in the United States and Miami is an incentive destination. And so this venue, because of the load in, the rental fees and everything else, tends to be on the higher end, but it's well worth it. And so for me personally, it's one of my favorite venues. We love the events that you can do here. And then we also use this for activities in the afternoon. So this is part of a tour that we also will use. They've got a great cafe around the corner. It's a very historic building, and it is up, and the artwork inside is also amazing. If you have a smaller group of 80 people, you could actually do a seated dinner inside the venue, which is covered. And so we really love talking about it. We love showing it. And if there's any questions that you have, by all means, let us know. But we've done headline acts here. We've done a lot of unique events. And once again, it is well worth the money. And it will leave your attendees talking about their evening for sure at the end of this night.
Thank you. Okay, Heather, would you like to go on?
Yeah, absolutely. So I added this in. This was a last minute ad we were talking about earlier today because I didn't want to miss the opportunity to talk about the different flavors that are in Florida. Because we have a lot of clients that come down and say, what's unique to Florida? What kind of flavors should we include? And there's a lot of different things going on in Florida. One of them is sort of the Cuban influence. And this is a display from Cuba Libre restaurant that's in the Orlando area, over at Point Orlando. And so this is a little interesting looking things where we've got grab and go flan, we've got plantains, we've got chips and salsa, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of unique flavors that you can bring to your events that I think Florida is somewhat of a melting pot. I mean, like I said, I'm a Florida born and raised individual, but there aren't very many of us down here. It is a melting pot of people from all over the United States who've come to live here, as well as some international folks as well. So if you are looking for what does Florida have to offer, you can go Cuban, you can do seafood, you can do, because we have really great, amazing fresh seafood. But I wanted to just make sure that you take a moment, and if you're at a hotel, take a moment and partner with your chef and say, we want to bring out the flavors from Florida. What else can we offer? So we can say that they came to Florida and experienced something that is locally and organically here, right? So I've just figured Cuba Libre was a really amazing experience that we had. That obviously is specifically Cuban food, but it is something you should definitely explore with obviously your group, as well as wherever you're going to be with your venue. So the hotel, or if you want to find unique, authentic restaurants, options like this do exist. And this is really close to the Orlando County Convention Center. So something to consider.
Thank you. Okay, Katie?
Here we did it was a margarita and ceviche making class right by the beach, not on the beach. Like Heather said, there are some challenges. Fun facts, most properties do not own their beach. especially in the Clearwater, St. Pete area. I actually had an event at the Trade Winds on St. Pete Beach, and in order to have a reception outside, we had to fence it in and get permitting. And I actually had my client tell me that I didn't inform her that there would be birds on the beach. So so it's nice to be by the beach, but not necessarily have to have things by the beach without having, the nice views. So here it was set up on one of the terraces at the properties we were at. And it was really cool. Chef and team came out and, educated us on, how to make ceviche, what ingredients to add, the right spices and citrus to make sure the fish has what it needs to be eaten in that state. But it was neat because people got to actually get their own bowls and make them and try out different options. Like, some people don't like jalapenos, but other people need their avocado. So that was a nice, fun and easy thing. And then the margarita class, we actually, all have our own version of how to make a margarita. But this was kind of interesting and neat, where everybody, got to take a turn in smaller table groups. And, they even taught us like the right strainers we should use and how much ice and how to salt the glass. We had plastic cups here, like Heather was saying, it's harder in outdoor settings to have the glassware. But that was kind of a fun, pre-afternoon activity before they went into the evening part of the program. So just wanted to highlight that.
Hey, that sounds fantastic. Okay, so we're going to talk about venues a little bit, and we will move on to Joe.
All right. As Heather is kind of talking about, and I can tell she has her ops hat on, this venue is, we have an office on Amelia Island. We have 12 full-time people in Fernandina Beach, which is, once again, Katie talked a little bit about it earlier. It's an awesome location to host meetings and events. Fort Clinch is probably one of my favorites. It is absolutely a unique venue. I tell anybody who goes there, whether they're on vacation, they're there for a sight and section, go by the fort because it is unique. It is built in 1847. It's like one of only 4 actual forts that are still intact completely, meaning all the walls are around it and they're original. It started construction in 1816. It was finished in 1847. And it's basically a third system fortification. Why is it a unique event? Number one, we've done biking tours there. We do activities where we stop there before we go downtown Fernandina to go shopping. We have done groups of 800 seated for dinner. And that takes a lot to do, working with the city and the state, because this is a state park. And so the beauty of Fernandina is both of those entities work really good, meaning the city and the state. And so the fort, to me, it's built at the St. Mary's River. So literally on the north side of the fort is Georgia. And so you can see Cumberland Island there. But we've done some unique themes there during the day. If we do activities there, there's period people walking around in Confederate uniforms, and whether they're there taking care of the jail and they're in part or they're playing a part. It's really unique. It's very fun. And there's a huge flagpole at the beginning of it that is over 45 feet high. And it just gives you the setting of what it was like, 150 years ago. And this is still one of the only forts that is still today. We're able to do evening and events there. As you can see on the bottom right-hand corner, it's right on the beach, so you can shoot fireworks at the end of the night. There's a lot of opportunity there. There's a lot of coordination, okay? And so when I say that, if you're not working with somebody local or knows what they're doing, it's going to be an excruciatingly painful experience for you. But the events that happen there are very unique, and they're excellent ways to create loyalty and long-term return on the money that you spend. And that is what we're looking for when you're doing an event of this nature, even like Vizcaya. That's the return that you're looking for. and that uniqueness. So we love talking about Fort Clinch. We love working with the property, and ultimately, even the state guides that are there. You've got the park rangers. They're so knowledgeable and they're passionate. So that's another thing that we really talk about too. So excited that we got to talk about this and show it to you. It's the entire park is, I think it's close to 55, 60 acres. So the drive to get here from the street is about 8 to 12 minutes, depending on how fast you go. So we really love it, and we wanted to focus on it here for this specific event. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Heather?
I just want to say too, that I think it's awesome that we have historical locations in Florida that you can utilize. I think it's really amazing. I mean, St. Augustine is one of the oldest cities in the country. So it's neat that Florida has that to offer. Not a lot of other places do. Okay, sorry. We are talking about Enyala, and that is how you say it. I've been corrected often. It's not Ngala, it's Enyala. It is a wildlife preserve. This is in Southwest Florida. Joe was talking about how long you can sit on a bus. This one sort of pushes the limits a little bit on this, if depending on where you're coming from. We took a group here from the JW Marriott Marco Island. We estimated an hour. We got there a little bit faster than that, but sometimes the traffic coming off of Marco Island going up to this can be a little dicey. So it does push the limits of how long you want to be on a bus, but I think it's a very unique and interesting location. We had about 500 people that were going to this. That's the other challenge in Southwest Florida, unless you're creating an entire event space yourself, there aren't a lot of places that can fit 500 people or so within the range of, I don't want to be on a bus for an hour and a half. So this is one of them that does fit. It is a very unique location. It's in the middle of you drive by a lot of flower fields and such, and a lot of farms and such to get there. It is, the best way I can describe it is an elegant safari setting. You feel like you're in Africa, maybe in the 1950s is the best way to kind of describe it. You walk in over that little bridge right there, and underneath these open air tents. They do their own catering. They have all the supplies you might need on site. They offer this is the Mako Jumbie stilt walker that I'm posing with in the middle here. He's always fun to come and greet people as they get off the bus. And then there's entertainment that you can add in, including African drummers and dancers. And the coolest thing about this space is that the animal encounters that they offer, there's a giraffe, there's a rhinoceros, and these are all well taken care of, socialized animals that love seeing the people come for their events. So it's a very unique and interesting location for sure. Be careful of the weather in Florida. I'm sure it's less fun in July because it might be a little bit warmer, but just something to keep in mind. And I would also say too that if you have a larger group, when we had 500 people, we did add luxury trailer restrooms to this as well, just to make that process go a little bit faster. They do have restrooms on property, but it is helpful to have those as an additional opportunity for people if they wanted to go to the restroom. So unique location, Southwest Florida, something you'll never forget for sure. So in Yala.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Katie?
So I would be remiss to not highlight Ben Hill Griffin Stadium here in Gainesville. We do have with a lot of academic groups that want to highlight universities. So, you know, this could apply to other universities, but here in Gainesville, we have events that do happen at the stadium. Here is a view from Champions Club, which is up on the 5th level, unless you're a bowl gator or get invited and have friends who donate to the university. People normally don't get this view, but we've actually hosted full events here. There's Touchdown Terrace, F Club, and Champions Club. Touchdown Terrace and here at Champions Club, they do have larger spaces where we've actually been able to host sessions, you know, meals, poster sessions. And it's, you know, just a cool and unique opportunity / experience. But here, you know, we've had Albert and Alberta, our mascots, at events. Here was a picture with the DJ we hired, David Hanscom with Y Entertainment, you know, having some fun. But also there's, you know, options like a cappella groups. Marriott and Helms Briscoe actually hosted a luncheon up in the same space, and they had a student a cappella group perform, which was actually really neat. And it was just, you know, a nice addition to the stadium we were in. But you know, this also can apply to things like your, you know, your NFL, your hockey, your baseball stadiums. So don't forget, those are also good options with, you know, hosting sometimes even meetings or your social events.
Hey, thank you. So we've got Heather again. I just wanted to remind you that we have about 10 minutes left before questions. So if we could just be a little quick, that would be great. I just want to make sure we have enough time to talk about CSR.
You got it. So the reason I put in Universal New York Street Party is because unlike Harry Potter, this is where you can brand. Yay. So if that's really important to you, if you want to do signage on the poles, you want to do signage on the marquee, you want to bring in your own napkins for your private event, like this is where Universal will really partner with you and you can go to town. You can go to New York, right, with your branding. So you can fit a lot more people in this space too. I think we had 1,300 people that were doing the New York Street Party. It's kind of fun, interactive. You can do, you know, food and beverage wise. We had hot dog vendors walking around with hot dogs in silver that you could do it, and the pretzels and the nuts. So, and then obviously they could enjoy all the rides. So Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon, Transformers, Blues Brothers, Revenge of the Mummy, all that fun stuff. So lots of fun at Universal. It's always a good option.
Thank you. Okay, Katie's back.
So sticking with the stadium theme, this was a cool event we did at the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium. It was in partnership with our MPI North Florida chapter, Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association, the Sustainable Events Network. So kind of, you know, had all of the industry groups come together for this event for Global Meeting Industry Day, and it was really neat. We had it right on the field as people walked in, you know, they were up on the video board and they had all of the, you know, pyrotechnics and smoke, and it was just, you know, it was a fun way to come in. And then they had you know, you can see in the back, the big Jacksonville actually has one of the biggest video boards in the world, which is neat. So it is good visibility for branding or presentations. They did set up, you know, the main stage area with, you know, other screens as well, since we did have speaker presentations. But PRI did a great job working with us to have some of their, you know, branded tumblers, and also worked on the seating arrangements. We had mixed table options, as well as had a great show with food and beverage. As you can see, that was just the cake part that they had of all the food tents, but it was really, you know, unique experience. And we did it in April, so the weather was actually really nice, not too hot, not too cold. But I also wanted to highlight the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's you too.
Yes. So here, this was actually really fun. If you've never been to Andretti Karting and Games in Orlando, it actually is a really cool venue. They have meeting spaces, and they also have a lot of activities and entertainment you can do. Here, this was duck pin bowling that they split up our group to have do, and they had the branding on the lanes. And then we also did laser tag, which normally I watch my 9-year-old son run around and do that, but it actually was a really fun team building experience. So I wanted to also highlight Andretti in Orlando.
Thank you. It looks fun. So we're going to go into a little bit about gifts. So Joe?
All right, I'll try to make this quick. Camelia Webster, she's located in Palm Beach, but she is one of South Florida's leading living artists and designers. So she has been featured in museums. She has been featured in Art Basel. She is local, and she really took some of her artwork that she's known for and then created more of a gifting experience. And you can see the purses, there's great notebooks, and there's all kinds of other stuff she's done. She's also done pashminas. We love working with her. A lot of times she'll do meet and greet, she'll tell her story. But for the right group, from an amenity perspective, we love trying to find local partners, local artisans, and Camellia is really, really a unique opportunity for Palm Beach, and really that bright setting. And as most people know, Lily Pertzer was from this area, and so she is, I will tell you, her artwork itself is not anything like Lily, but this is a really bright way to have a little bit of pop. You can kind of also see some of the candles and other stuff she does. So she's very inspirational and honestly a great entrepreneur. And she's used her skills to really develop what she does the best. So we really like working with her, and having that personal appearance there also really makes a big deal in the attendees' eyes. They really like asking questions and talking through some of these designs and other stuff with the actual artist. So we wanted to feature her for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Looks great. Okay, Heather?
Okay, so here's my Canva. I'm sorry, I threw this together relatively quickly, but I wanted to Joe's point, a lot of the people that we work with client-wise that come down to Florida are really asking for local goods, local companies that they want to feature in their amenity basket. So who knew that Banana Boat was founded in Florida? It's always really important. A lot of our clients come from like Minnesota and Chicago, and they come down and get that bright red sunburn. So we always try to do sunscreen in that the bag. Old Florida is it's a company based here. There's tortilla chips, and that the queso dip has always been a really big hit. I buy Old Florida tortilla chips weekly at my house as well. The little box that's next to the queso dip, that is from a sweet shop called Dolce Mare, which is down on Marco Island. Those are seashell shaped chocolates. Delicious, and they last for a while. So we like to put something in there for that. Who doesn't need water and amenity gifts? So we try to do Zephyr Hills. Zephyr Hills is actually from Florida. And then the last one on the right is Miss B's, and that is a popcorn shop that's actually local to the Orlando area. But they come in a variety of different popcorn flavors. And I think for this one, we ended up going with a Chicago mix, although this was a different like multicolored rainbow one. So all of the amenities and stuff that you're able to consume in this is all Florida based. And then we added custom towels, custom bag, and then sunglasses that were branded as well. So fun stuff for the guests coming to Florida.
Awesome. Thank you. So Katie?
So we have Andretti here again. I shared this because I thought it was smart as we were running around doing karting, laser tag, bowling. They actually all had water bottles filled for us. And, now a lot of people like having a bottle they can carry around with them and refill, especially, hotels having those areas and water stations during our events. So this was like a clever way, for them. And obviously it's a unique bottle, and they had a race car in the bottom of it. But to Heather's point, a lot of local CVBs will provide some VIP bags to, your important VIPs or speakers. We've had, Daytona Beach do local chocolates, nice beach towels. A lot of my nice beach towels have come from CVBs or, our Marriott's or Hilton's. And that's stuff people don't, usually buy on their own, especially nicer beach bags. When you're traveling and going to a beach destination, that's usually something you need to pack in your suitcase because you're not going to bring your backpack or your purse down to the beach or the pool. And even Visit Gainesville, they've, gotten like beer mugs, just things local, because Florida in general has a big craft beer following, and lots of breweries. So those are just, fun little things. A lot of CVBs will do bags for attendees that have local dining guides, maps, general information on the area. And usually those are free. Lee County CVB has done it for me in Fort Myers, Daytona, Visit St. Pete, Clearwater, Visit Gainesville. So those are also, some good options if you don't necessarily have the budget to do those bigger welcome amenities.
Great, thank you. So we have a couple more gifts that I'm hoping we can just quickly go through only to get to CSR.
Yeah.
Okay.
30 seconds. Cork was founded in St. Augustine, and what their mission is crafting unique, eco-conscious cork bags that bring style and functionality. All the products are made with natural Portuguese cork, and then the bags are inspired by local beach coordinates on them. So you can kind of see that in the center bag there. And then to me, it's a unique setting. We actually have done a lot of the little small handbags there that you can kind of see on the left-hand side, the wristlet. And so this is something that is obviously sustainable, eco-centric, and people really enjoy it, and it's local. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, how about this? Quickly. Is this you, Joe?
This is not.
Oh, okay. I don't know who that is. Sorry. All right. Well, that takes us to CSR. And we will start with Nathaniel's Hope, Joe.
Okay, so our goal at Ethos Event Collective is try to connect the community to the events and the clients that are coming in. We are proud to be partnering with Nathaniel's Hope this year as one of our 4 local charities in Orlando. And any of the events that we do, especially this scavenger hunt that we do, benefits Nathaniel's Hope. This their mission and what I really like about them, and they're local, based out of Orlando. Their mission is really to take and raise awareness of these children have multiple, all kinds of different challenges, and whether they're in wheelchair bound or whatever. So they're really there to come alongside the family and to deliver tools and resources, whether it's financial, whether it's resources like wheelchairs, education for the parents. And to be very honest, it's one of our favorite charities that we work with in the state. And so 1% of our profit is going to be going to their mission this year, which we're excited about. But we really love working with them. And by doing a scavenger hunt at Disney, that's one of the ways that we can actually introduce Nathaniel's Hope and what that foundation is about for them. So we really love partnering with them.
Thank you. Okay. Heather?
Okay, so we get asked to do a lot of charity-focused team building. As I'm sure it is all across the nation, there are quite a few people in Florida who are food insecure. So these are 2 of our more popular charity-focused team buildings. The one on the right, each team gets a plethora of canned goods that they can create a golf course with. They have certain times they can negotiate different excellent money things to be able to get more cans, different cans, things to build it with, and then everyone goes through the golf course and they vote on which hole is the best. And then at the very end, all of the canned goods are, of course, donated to a food bank that is local to the city that we're in. The other one is a race to feed the nation, and it's very similar, but as far as you are decorating your folding grocery cart, you're trying to win challenges to get more food into your cart, win challenges to get decorations on it. At the end, we do a parade for the best cart. We're voting that way, and again, all of the items that you are playing with are things that are non-perishable that we can then turn around and donate to a food bank.
Awesome, thank you. So unfortunately, I think we're running out of time a little bit, only to get to the end and see who won the contest, and if there's a time for a question or 2. So Joe, maybe we can talk about St. Mary's Riverkeeper by email with some of the attendees, if that's
Sure.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. North Florida give back event, but yeah, absolutely. Let's go to the prize winner and then any questions. Absolutely.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to end the slideshow. And we have 2 winners, Sharon Moser and Priscilla Blevins. So congratulations, ladies, for winning a $100 gift card apiece. So I think we have time for like 1 question. Let's see what we have here. Anybody have a question? Oh, really great information and ideas. Thank you. Everybody's happy with this. Somebody used Inyala, but it was years ago. Same for me. It's been a long time.
Yep, it's been around for 16 years.
Yeah. So, if there aren't any other comments or questions, anybody? I guess I'm going to say thank you to our panelists for being with us, and thanks everybody else for watching and listening, and we hope that you learned something about Florida. I'm like Heather, Florida native, born and raised, even though I moved it's in your blood, and I really love promoting it any chance I can get. So thank you to Heather, Joe, and Katie, and everybody behind the scenes who put this together. And we'll see you for the next webinar, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Appreciate it.